And here is my team. The principal on the team is Dr. Frank Rouault from France. He's a professor at ESSEC as well as the principal for practical learning. My name is Phillip Pardo, Associate Dean at APU. Dr. Malcolm Cooper is on our team. He's a professor emeritus at APU, and Dr. William Claster is also on our team. He's also a professor emeritus at APU in mathematics. So we're going to be covering the introduction shortly, obviously some of the uh, current cycles and models that are in use, the actual tape model and the matrix that accompanies it, some behaviors which we believe are telltale of the tape model, a short summary, as well as some further research comments. Our team's focus has been for the last few years on the management of confusion, and it's led us to putting together a model or confusion management cycle concept called TAPE, T-A-P-E. That's an acronym, obviously. We'll go over what it means. And we've had some positive early reactions from different people that we know, as well as researchers in the field and our own uh, uh, consulting practice. We believe that to go further, we need to compare this to existing research and to really do some validity and reliability studies to see that it is predictive in nature. We looked at these using a grounded theory coding technique, and we basically found the four commonalities, which were all seem to want to have an understanding of the issue in the first instance. In the second instance, they wanted you to do something, take the initiative, measuring progress as a third factor, and enhancing the outcome in the fourth instance. And this is what we based our model on. Welcome to the tape model. And obviously, as you can see, there's quite a lot to it, but let's go by the name first. What does TAPE stand for? It stands for tag, act, perform, and expand. And basically what we're trying to do is work with the initial, is in the black area of the circle, the feelings that occur in each phase of confusion and getting out of confusion. So the first phase that you're faced with is chaos. Think of fear. Something has happened. You don't know what it is. It could be a forest fire. It could be a saber-toothed tiger waiting for you at the opening of your cave. It could be anything that you're not ready for, shall we say. And the first thing to do is to give it a name, figure out what it is in some way, even if that's only a temporary solution, and it may change in the future. Then we move on to a feeling of some way through the process, through the problem, a pathway. So and that develops, that means that we essentially are acting, we're moving towards a solution, and that means that we have an element of mastery. If you notice from the top at the north end, we have confusion, then we go through a process of action. At the end of that action, we get a mastery. In other words, if it's the first time you see a forest fire, obviously you don't have much knowledge of what to do. But if you've done, if you've been in 100 forest fires, then you probably have a pretty good idea of what to do. So you have an element of mastery which you've developed. And then we go through achievement, which means essentially you're putting together a process that helps you in the future to tackle these issues. It almost becomes a standard operating procedure, SOP. And that means that now it frees up time for you to expand your knowledge, to venture out into other areas, to essentially use your imagination, which will automatically lead to more confusion, because as you venture out, you will hit areas of knowledge that you don't have, of things that you've never seen, of feelings you've never felt, etc., etc. So then the loop starts again, where you go through confusion, action, mastery, and imagination, because you're going through these feelings of chaos, path, in other words, finding a road, pathway, achievement, and venture. And that's where the tape model gets its name. We tag first, we act second, we perform, and we expand on that performance. This is simply a matrix based on the tape model. So take a look at it. You'll find that the area of interest might be the last line there, expected outcome, and we'll go over that now. These are the types of behaviors you should promote in each of the areas of tagging, acting, performance, and expansion. And it just gives you a list of what best will help you to go on to the next situation. So in the area of tagging, you first have to name the emotion, get an idea as to some comfort as to what's going on, even if it's not correct. Then you have to name your confusion. In other words, what is it that you know? What is it that you don't know? And then you have to name the assumptions. In other words, you have to be clear into what your thinking is, and this may change as the situations develop. This is simply a development of these behaviors for performance and expansion. I think we're getting a certain understanding that confusion is never finished. It just keeps evolving, shall we say. And that's why having a good understanding of what is really going on, and that confusion will be with us forever and consistently and constantly, it's how we react to it that counts. And as per the roadmap for innovation that was developed by DAS in about 2012, the whole idea of act, perform, and expand, we've simply added the concept of tag to that in order to make sure that that confusion area is well taken care of. On behalf of my whole team, Frank, myself, Malcolm, and William, we'd like to thank you for your attention, and we wish you all the best in 2022. And hopefully this will reduce some of the confusion that is bound to occur in that year. in this year, I should say.